This is the ZK22 bullpup conversion, and we're using just standard 1022 parts in here. We will be going over the parts here in a minute. So the original plan with this 1022 right here, I don't know if you guys saw it. This one is the first 1022 build that we did. This one has a ton of parts on it: Volquartz and trigger, Volquartz and bolt, you know, Tactical Solutions barrel, Brownell's receiver. The original goal with this build, with the ZK22, was to take this receiver set and to put it into here. I had two problems that wouldn't allow me to do it, so I had to get another barrel, another receiver, and I just went ahead and got another trigger and bolt. Problem number one, this one has a Picatinny rail on the top of it. And because of that Picatinny rail, it wouldn't fit into the chassis system. Problem number two, the Tactical Solutions barrel is a 16.5-inch barrel. Legally, unless you go through the NFA and fill out a tax stamp, that 16.5-inch barrel will actually violate the overall length requirements for a rifle and make it a SBR. So with this one, you have to have at least a 18.5-inch barrel. And so that's what we got here. I really wanted to do this build because I've never fired or had any experience with any type of bullpup before. And the bullpups are very different because the action where you eject the rounds and everything is behind the trigger group. That's what makes it a bullpup. One of the advantages to the bullpup though is now you get a way shorter overall length. But was this build worth it or not? I'll also have a complete parts list for you guys down in the description below, and as well as a lot of coupon codes, I would say, for pretty much all of this stuff. But let's dive up close. Let's take a look at this. Let's look at how this whole dang thing works. Then we're gonna find out if this bad boy is reliable or not. Here is the ZK22 and kind of in all its glory, all put together. It is held in place by all these different little screws. So I'm just gonna yank those out real quick and I can show you what it looks like on the inside. This is the internals of it. You can see there's not really a whole lot to it. So this is the rail system right here. And when you pull it, you can see this whole bar moves and it actuates the trigger. Now this just sits down into here. You got a little charging handle up there, and then this just pops out, and then they give you instructions on how to do all of this. So yeah, so you just attach this rail to your receiver and barrel combo. Now I forgot the brand of this barrel, but I believe it's called Green Mountain or Green Valley. I'll have links below for all this stuff. And then on this upper receiver right here, we have the Ruger bolt. This is the Brownell's receiver set. I got this one just because the other one, like I said, has a tactical rail and it doesn't want to fit. So that's kind of a big deal. I do have a little bit of painter's tape on here, and they did mention in the instructions for the ZK22 to put tape on it. That way your receiver doesn't get all scratched up. And then to put it back in, we just set it into place like that. And you know, all the instructions are already there for you. I also have a complete build tutorial on how to assemble these 1022 receiver sets and triggers and all that stuff. So I'll have links below for everything. And then this right here, this is our charging handle. And what it'll do is you get it when you get it installed and you pull it, it actually, your charging handle of the 1022 bolt. Very ingenious design, I must say. And then when you want to put it back together, you just place it on top of here, make sure all your plastic pieces that, you know, they showed you how to install, make sure all those are in place. And you start putting all your screws in. It really helps if you use a drill. But yeah, it's a pretty cool little system. I didn't know how it was gonna run, but let's jump up top, let's go over the range footage, and let's just see if this thing was even reliable or not. Then at the end of the video, I'll give you guys kind of my final opinion about this. Back up top. The interesting thing about this build was I didn't know if it was going to be reliable or not. When we did this build, the first range trip, I had nothing but like failures to feed, failures to extract over and over and over again. Literally, I was just getting super frustrated. Then I brought it home, I cleaned up the action, I lubed it up real well, went back to the range, and now we're 500 or 600 rounds later, and I still haven't had a malfunction or a light primer strike with this. And so I was a little bit concerned with this one because there is so much more going on with it, and you guys saw that little rail system that goes inside of here. I didn't know if that was really gonna affect the way that this thing cycles or not. So I took it out to the desert the other day, we went to go shoot it, and
color me impressed.
I literally had 0 malfunctions. And then I was like, oh, that has to be a fluke. Let's do another mag and see what happens.
2 mags in a row?
And then I did another mag, and it just kept on running. So super impressed with that. I've had zero issues with this. One little thing to keep in mind, back here where this mag release is, you know, your mag release button's right there. When I first put this all together, and I put this mag in, it kept falling out. It wouldn't lock into place. What I had to end up doing was this little bolt right here. I actually had to loosen it up about a half turn or so. For some reason, it just wasn't allowing it to get locked into place. So I loosened it up a bit and put some Loctite on it to make it set in place. Now it's golden and the mags always stay in place now. That's definitely huge. Now let's talk about the price. You know, what does this build kind of cost? I can't remember what the exact prices is on all the parts, so please forgive me on this, but I believe this barrel was about $100 or so. I think the receivers from Brownells are like $80-ish. Then the Ruger trigger system and bolt, that was like another $70-ish. ZK22 system, I think these are around $250, $270. It's actually not that expensive in the grand scheme of things, especially compared to this guy right here. Now, one thing I can tell you for certain is this barrel right here, although it's fluted, it weighs 3 times as much as this one. This one weighs less than a pound. I don't remember if you can get these in the 18.5-inch length or not. If you can, I would totally suggest it for a build like this. They're a lot more expensive, but this is literally like 15 ounces. This one is like 3.1 pounds. Huge difference in weight. So now let's talk about what I'm gonna be doing to it next. I really feel like this thing, looking at the reflections of it in the monitor there, I can't tell if it looks cheap or not on camera, but in person, it just looks and feels like plastic. I think what this is gonna need is a good Cerakote job. So let me know down in the comments, what color would you Cerakote this if it were your gun? Love to hear your guys' feedback because I'd love to just see what people come up with, and maybe I'll use that idea, maybe I won't. I typically go with like grays and stuff like that, but maybe you guys can come up with something cool for the ZK22. This is literally my very first experience with any type of bullpup design. If you are interested in getting into bullpups and maybe, you know, wanting to shoot something to see if you're gonna like it before you invest in like a Tavor or something like that, I would highly recommend getting one of these because they're just a ton of fun to shoot. They're not that expensive to build, just depending on what parts you get, and the ammo is dirt freaking cheap. So that's all I got to say about that. Until next time, I love you, and you guys stay sexy.